I'm Simon from WhatCulture, and let's preface this video by saying I always try and enjoy professional wrestling for whatever professional wrestling is. Otherwise, what's the point? What a waste of time. You can claw and nitpick away at anything, but sometimes I have to take a step back and look on the brighter side of life. With that said, the modern day WWE product does have some issues, and a major one that people love to bring up over and over again is the fact that it's now PG, when in the past it wasn't PG. But to be honest, that isn't a problem. Why? Here's why. The main reason a finger is pointed at WWE going PG is because of the Attitude Era. We all remember when wrestlers ran around swearing at each other, and we think if that freedom came back, then everything would be fine, daisies would fall from the sky, and the sun would shine more than it's ever shone before. But I don't think that's true. The heart and soul of professional wrestling has always been emotional stories that you can buy into. And you don't need to be flipping people off to do that. You just need to feel it inside your stomach and buy into the wrestlers and think, I need to know who's going to win this match. And in that sense, it doesn't matter if it's PG, doesn't matter if it's TV-14, doesn't matter if it's a U. And a U is for little kids, as long as they make you believe that's all that matters. I mean, that's what happens with some cartoons. You, as an adult, will watch a cartoon that is meant for a child, but the way it is presented makes you go, I understand this, I'm getting something from it. And furthermore, nobody wants to see Buzz Lightyear from Toy Story call Woody a asshole. We don't need it. That's not to say there aren't areas where WWE could look to improve upon, and it's within these areas that a lot of today's issues lie. Let's start with 50-50 booking. And we all love 50-50 booking. Two wrestlers trade wins back and forth week in, week out, and by the end of it we've got an even playing field and we don't know who's meant to be more dominant than the rest of them. This is mostly done because WWE thinks as long as you're being entertained, doesn't matter who wins or loses. It's just fun. And if it's just fun, it means you're having fun, I'm having fun, your dad's having fun, your great auntie Edna's having fun. Just fun. And yeah, that's true to a certain extent, but when it's time to get serious, fun just doesn't cut it anymore. I don't want to see Sasha beat Bayley one week and then see Bayley beat Sasha the next week, because then neither match meant anything. I can't buy in, and I may as well just tuned in to watch two people having a random fight. It's the same with the idea of the stop-start-push. In 2016, we live in a world where if someone doesn't get over instantly, they are given up on entirely. Now, a large portion of that blame has to go on the audience who do have shorter attention spans. But that's not the point. You can't put someone out there on Monday Night Raw in the main event slot, get the ratings in, they're not what you hope, and go, screw it, he's not the guy. You've got to give people time. You've got to allow them to grow. You've got to let them understand what the position is and see if they can sink or swim. A PG rating doesn't affect a slow build, and while it's harder to do that today, WWE would greatly benefit from doing more of it. Maybe, just maybe, Roman Reigns wouldn't be the Roman Reigns we know today if he was allowed to simmer, as aside from setting him on fire and then pushing him in front of a crowd. Maybe he would have been viewed very differently right now, but we will never know, because the decision was made to rush his push as opposed to let it just grow. There's more we can look at too. Despite all of John Cena's best efforts to reignite the US title, or what The Miz has recently been doing with the IC strap, neither of those championships feel like they did 15 years ago. In fact, what it does feel like is a lot of people backstage don't really care about them, and then that comes across on TV. Storylines and programs need to be built into all feuds, and that's why recently Dolph Ziggler and The Miz did catch some people by surprise. I mean, it didn't hurt that they put a retirement stipulation in there, and that did diminish the IC's title role a little bit, but it made people care, and people wanted to see what was gonna happen. If you keep doing that with those two titles, eventually everything's going to change and we can move forward. This ultimately ties into the bloated mid-card WWE currently has. A lot of people say WWE lacks depth. I would disagree with that. Say it just lacks structure. There are so many wrestlers you could call mid-carders these days, it's almost ridiculous. And they're not there because that's their ceiling. They're there because their push to the top just doesn't materialize. Almost like working at a bank when there's no promise of promotion. After a while, people begin to affiliate these wrestlers as mid-carders, even though they have the potential to be so much more. Not only does that hurt the wrestler's career, but it hurts WWE as a brand and as a company as well. If you only have a strong roster as opposed to a strong roster with a few stars sprinkled in there, things are eventually going to start to feel stale. Certain people have to break through eventually, but leave it too long, and I have a stigma attached to them to life. Then you give them the big push to the main event scene and forget about it. No one believes it. Finally, there's the always divisive issue as to whether or not WWE does listen to its fans. I mean, we all saw what happened with Daniel Bryan, and we're all seeing what is happening with Roman Reigns. And in both those instances, the corporate point of view was, well, we'll just move forward anyway. Now, this is obviously bad, because if you are a fan and you don't feel like you're getting what you want, you're going to be a little bit pissed off. Thankfully, we got our Daniel Bryan moment at WrestleMania 30, but that was never meant to happen, and for a long time, wasn't going to happen. It was an emotional roller coaster. The same could be said for Roman Reigns. Surely he should be turned heel because he's getting booed each and every week. It makes sense, and at this point, it's long overdue. It's a fair point, and some things should change, but you've got to draw a line in the sand at some point. You can't listen to the fans on everything, otherwise you would become world champion. And no offense to you, I'm sure you're lovely, and I'm sure you treat everyone great, but nobody wants to see you as world champion. Not yet though, not yet. You make something yourself, and people will want to see it. I just mean right now, you can't listen to everything the fans say, because we'd have, I don't know, frozen popcorn. With all that said, it doesn't matter that WWE is currently a PG product. Yeah, it means it's less edgy, but being less edgy doesn't mean it's less emotional, and emotion is what it's all about. Because when you get the emotion, that's when you buy in, and that's when you think it's real, even though it's not real, and we're all idiots. Right, now leave a comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and come tell me what you thought about all of this on Twitter at SimonMiller316. I'm Simon from WhatCulture, and I want you all to go out there and have a lovely day. And if you're not sure what you have to do in order to make it become a lovely day, just figure out what you want and go and get it. Then you're going to have a lovely day. And I'll have a lovely day because I know that you had a lovely day. Let's never say the words lovely day again.